Hello people and welcome to the Deveeyv. In this video is the second part of the health system, and I just realized that I should upload all these videos at once because it's kind of boring. Watch the theory and wait for the practice. So I am gonna do this in the next videos if needed. In this video, let me show all the steps I have taken to create this basic health system. Okay, so first I have created the scene of the health system. I opened the last scene and I created the prefab of the player because it's kind of boring to set all the things every single time. Okay, then I have imported this sprites of the spike and the heart and the heart. I have created this on the A sprite. I didn't like at all the spikes, but I do like the heart. And okay. Then I created the word with the ground and the box collider. Then I created the spikes. As you can see, the spikes has a child because the child collision is the lower half, and the spikes is the upper half. Why? Because I don't want the player get hurt if it stay aside of the spikes. So that's why it's just a bit, as you can see, just a bit smaller, the upper half. I created the two, and the hill is just the heart sprite with the box collider trigger. Then I created the canvas with three things. The health counter is just to show the player how much hearts and the image of the heart, and this event feedback that I'm gonna talk right soon. Okay, then finally I start with the scripts. So on the scripts, as you can see, first the damage setting. This could be named the DamageController. This is basically the idea. The main goal of this script is just to be attached to the game object that deal damage. So for example, I can attach this on a bullet, on a cannonball, on an arrow, or I can add this to a burning soil, to a rose field of thorns. I can add this to basically to a breath of the dragon, basically to everything that deal damage, because I have the settings here. So first I have these two variables. The damage type is instant or overtime type, and this physics feedback. I would create a class of feedback controller, but the idea is to have basic health system. So I didn't this, but it's a good idea for the future. Okay, I created the int damage value, basically how much damage I will deal, and these two variables. So first is basically the counter for the overtime damage, and this overtime value is just the interval of the damage. So I can deal, for example, every 2 seconds. I need to set this to 2. Okay, and then I created the 2 on collision enter. I created 2 on enter, on collision and on trigger. So first on collision enter 2D, I restart the counter, because the idea is if the player can't shoot the damage, overtime damage, for example, every time the player jump out of the, for example, burning soil, wouldn't deal damage. So I start deal damage, and so that's why I need to reset the counter. Okay, and I check if it's the player. If it's the player, I call the apply damage, the function Down here, I pass as a parameter the game object and the damage type as instant. Here on enter trigger 2D is the same thing. On the stay on collision stay 2D and the on trigger enter 2D, first I check if it's overtime value. If it's the overtime type, then I start to increase the timer. Once the value of interval is reached, basically is greater or equals to the interval, I reset the counter and I apply damage with the game object and overtime type. And finally, on the call apply damage, I need the object to call the health class and the string type, the string damage type to check if it's overtime or instant damage. So this is the damage set. I will pass slowly. Okay, then the health class, and remember this could be named as HealthController, but I forgot. So first I have private int health value, is basically the current health of the player. Then the text health output and the event feedback. These two texts on the canvas, the health output is just a counter, the event feedback I will talk later. And private is alive, the player is alive, basically the boolean variable is alive. And the original call that I will talk right after, right soon. On the start function, I clear the event feedback text, set the player as alive, and set how much value, how much life the player has. Then on the fixed update, I update the position of the event feedback every single time based on the position of the player on the X and the position of the player +1 on the Y position. So here game object transform position Y +1, and I update the health counter and I check if the health value, the health of the player is less or equals to 0, the player is dead, and I set the text to the died. The function of apply damage. So here we have all those four variables: the damage type, physics feedback, damage pattern, the overtime, and the damage value. So first I check if the player is alive. If the player is alive, I decrease how much life the player has. I update the texts and the event feedback and the heart and the health counter, and I call this I am gonna show. Then I check if as I said, this could be a class and script to the feedback controller, but the idea may be implemented on the future. So here is just I check if the physics feedback is equals to the knockback. If it's, I just add the force on the y axis of 7. Here I have the public void heal player. The idea is to build a basic health system. So the three main rules of damage, of counting, and the death, theoretically we already have. The idea of regeneration, the heal, invincibility, etc. is a complex health system, but I added this here just to be a bit more complete of the steps. So I add the public void heal player and health to heal, and I increased the current health of the player to the health to heal. And here we have the fade out. Here I just tried to play a bit with the text of the Unity, but it's kind of boring. I do recommend you to use the text Mesh Pro, because you have a lot of possibilities, and work with the raw text, it's kind of boring. Okay, so here we already have the basic health system, but I created this heal setting and could be named the healing controller or something like this. This script has the same idea of the damage setting, so I can attach this to the everything that heals the player. So I can attach this, for example, red heart that heal 1 of player. I can, for example, have a green heart that heals 2 hearts of the player. I can have, for example, a shrine. I can have a base camp. I can have this on the shelter, on the home, on the house of the player, on the base of the player, on the bed of the player. Basically, whichever that heals. The idea is this. So I have a private boolean is collectible, so if is I need to check it to destroy. I have the int healing, how basically amount of healing to the player, and here I have this to the overtime healing. So the healing interval, basically how much the pattern of seconds to heal, and the healing time is the timer itself. So I have the on trigger enter 2D. I check if is the player. If is, I call this function heal player as I showed down here. Heal player, and I heal this amount of healing. Then if it's collectible, I destroy this game object and reset the healing interval. And if it's overtime healing, is basically the same idea of overtime damage. I increase the time delta time, and once it's reached this healing interval, I heal the player. Okay, so this is the script. I will pass slowly here. It's kind of short. So now let me show on the Unity. So here I have the player, and if I touch this aside, I won't get hurt, but if I am on top of this spike, 1 of damage. I can collect this heart and 4, and I can touch this overtime and deal damage every 2 seconds and died. So this is how I did the health basic health system. So if you liked, I hope to try new things soon as possible. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I see you on the next LearnLog. So bye bye and see ya. I got a thing for causing arguments, but in my defense, I'm scared of